Never-Ending Narratives presents The Sorcerer's Sword, written by hero protagonist.
#Kenji. Day 1, a world without maps. The first thing I notice is the smell. Wood smoke, wet earth, something faintly animal underneath it all. Hay, or livestock, or both. The cold comes next, seeping through my clothes like it has been waiting for me specifically. Then the sound of wind moving through trees that are enormous in a way trees don't usually get to be anymore. Ancient. Cathedral column enormous. I am face down in the mud. Something hums at the base of my skull. Faint, warm, like a cold that hasn't decided whether to catch. I notice it the way you notice a sound in a dream. Real, but not yet important. I push myself up slowly, palms flat against the cold earth, testing my weight, and get to my knees. Then my feet. Everything works. Nothing broken. I stand at the edge of a dirt road that cuts through a forest so dense the sky above it is more suggestion than fact, and I take a slow breath, and I try to understand where I am. I can't. The road runs two directions, north and south, roughly. To the east, through a gap in the tree line, smoke threads upward above the canopy. More than one fire. A settlement. The sound of something metallic drifts from that direction on the wind, a hammer. I have nothing in my pockets, nothing on my belt. The clothes on my back are wrong for this weather and already damp at the knees. I start walking toward the smoke. The forest gives me things if I look properly. Within the first 100 yards, I find a fallen branch. Dense, dry, roughly my height, the right weight when I swing it once. I take it. Sharp rocks at the road's edge next. Flint fragments thrown there by years of cartwheels. I take the best two and pocket them carefully. The herbs take longer. I don't know their names here, but certain things translate. The sharp antiseptic smell of a low-growing cluster of dark serrated leaves near a mossy log tells me something useful, even without a label. I don't know why I know this. The knowledge is just there, seated deep, like muscle memory for a body I don't remember training. I wrap a handful in a broad, flat leaf and tuck it away. Further along, a pale, fibrous root half exposed from the soil at the base of an oak comes free easily. Dry it out and it'll hold a flame. By the time the trees begin to thin, I have a walking staff, 2 cutting tools, a small bundle of medicinal herbs, and tinder material. In a world where I arrived with nothing, that feels like wealth. The village reveals itself gradually. 20 buildings maybe, timber-framed, thatched, practical. A stone well at the center, chickens pecking between structures. A blacksmith's forge glowing orange at the far end, the hammering from earlier now loud and rhythmic and real. A boy, 10 years old at most, is the first to see me emerge from the tree line. He stops dead, stares, then bolts toward the nearest building shouting something too fast to catch. I keep walking. The door the boy disappeared into opens. A broad-shouldered woman steps out, wiping her hands on a coarse linen apron. Mid-50s, weathered face, sharp eyes, the particular calm of someone who has dealt with worse things than strangers before breakfast. She stops and looks me up and down slowly.
Forest spat you out, did it?
It isn't a question. My eyes are already moving past her, sweeping the village, taking inventory, tools against barn walls, a hand axe wedged into a splitting log near the woodpile. At the far end, the forge, and in front of it, a large man in a leather apron who has stopped pretending not to watch. The woman says when I don't respond. Her tone has cooled considerably.
Most folks say good morning first. But you do as you like, stranger.
She turns and walks back to her door with the unhurried confidence of someone on their own land. I head for the forge. The smith doesn't move to meet me. He stands at the forge entrance with arms folded and a hammer across his shoulder and waits to see what kind of man walks toward him. Up close, he's even larger than he looked from across the village. Gray-streaked beard, forearms like knotted rope. My eyes move past him into the forge and find what I came for almost immediately. Against the far wall, hanging from a peg, a longsword, clean steel, real balance. I can tell from across the room.
That one's spoken for,
He says. He caught me looking. Of course he did.
everything else is priced fair. If you've got coin,
He lets that last part land deliberately. I look at him and smile, not the careful kind. The other kind. Something shifts. The hard line of his mouth loosens. Just fractionally,
Aldrich,
he says finally. Aldrich Voss. Kenji, I say. He doesn't offer a hand, but the hammer shifts off his shoulder. Progress,
you're not from Duskfen,
he says. Then,
not from anywhere near Duskfen.
he leads me into the forge without being asked, rummages in a heavy wooden chest and surfaces with something wrapped in burlap, sets it on the workbench with a dull clank.
Made that 8 months ago.
He says, unwrapping it.
Balance was off. Blade pulls left on the draw. Not enough to matter in a real fight, most likely, but enough to bother me.
A short sword, single-edged, plain, real steel.
Won't sell it, won't throw it out.
He looks at it the way men look at things they've failed.
It sits.
He rewraps it and looks at me directly for the first time.
As for hunting,
He nods toward the tree line to the north.
old mill north of the village. Something's been wrong out that way past few weeks. Animals coming back strange, or not coming back. Lost 2 good hunting dogs. Whatever's out there, if you put it down and bring me proof, that sword's yours.
I look at the sword, then at him. Let me have the sword now, I tell him. I'll head out and find the threat right away. Aldrich's expression closes like a shutter.
Aye, that's not how it works.
He picks up the burlap bundle and tucks it back into the chest, latching it with a finality that echoes off the stone walls.
You come back with proof. I hand it over. That's the deal.
He turns back to his workbench, pulls the cloth off a half-finished blade, picks up his hammer, then pauses without turning around.
There's one thing I'll give you free of charge.
He nods toward a bucket near the forge entrance. Inside, a hand axe. Handle worn, head slightly rusted along the flat, but the edge still serviceable. The kind of thing a smith keeps for splitting kindling and forgets about.
Don't go into those woods with a stick.
He begins hammering. The conversation is over. I find a private clearing first, a fallen oak creating a natural wall at my back, and crouch with the hand axe across my knees and go still. The longsword is still on Aldrich's wall. What I have is a borrowed axe, a walking staff, 2 rocks, and whatever is burning quietly at the base of my skull. The warmth is stronger now. I focus on it the way you focus on a sound you're not sure you actually heard. I try to build ice. Cold. Something that slows and freezes. The ember doesn't respond to logic or architecture. But when I stop trying to direct it, when I just hold the axe and think about the weight of it in my hand, the intention behind it, something happens. A current, running from my chest down through my arm into the hand wrapped around the grip. Silver-white energy crawls along the axe head like heat haze in reverse. The clearing fills briefly with a sound like a struck piano wire. Then it fades. 10 seconds, maybe 12. I stare at the axe. Plain iron again. Rust and all. Not what I asked for. But something. I try for a shield next, a sustained purple shell, something that stays. The magic blooms immediately, purple light threading up from my fingertips across my chest and shoulders, humming and real. For one extraordinary moment, I stand in a forest clearing in another world wrapped in violet luminescence. Then it collapses inward, not gone, compressed, coiled beneath the surface like a held breath. I tap my own forearm. Nothing. I swing the axe handle against my own shoulder. A ghost of purple light flares at the point of impact and absorbs it, not the sustained shell I designed, something that waits and answers when it's needed. The magic has its own opinions about how it works, and they don't entirely match mine. I'm beginning to understand that arguing with it is less productive than learning its language. I take out my last sharp rock, aim at a tree, focus on it expanding mid-flight, growing dense and crushing at velocity. The ember looks at the request and loses interest completely. I throw the rock anyway, my whole body into it, shoulder dropping, hips rotating, arm whipping through in one clean chain. The flint crosses the clearing in a flat line and hits the oak dead center with a crack sharp enough to startle birds from the canopy 20 feet up. No magic, just a man who can throw hard. I collect what I've learned and head north with a borrowed axe and 2 rocks and a purple aura coiled under my skin. From a limestone shelf jutting from the hillside, I see the mill below, the stream, the pond filmed gray and iridescent with something that has killed every fish in it. And in the mill's shadow, something moving, low, the size of a large horse but the shape entirely wrong. Too many joints, the head swinging in slow arcs like it was tasting the air. I climb down, find a natural choke point between 2 oaks 60 yards from the mill, and I dig. 30 minutes of hard work, the hand axe for the surface, my hands for everything else, the loose earth piled carefully where it won't be visible from the mill direction, 4 feet deep, 3 feet wide. I lay branches across the opening in a loose lattice and cover them with leaves and soil scraped from the surrounding ground. From 10 feet away, it is invisible. Then I go back to my vantage point, take out my last sharp rock and throw it at the stone wall 6 inches above the creature's head. The sound it makes, that sub-frequency vibration that lives in the back teeth before the ears catch it, is the sound of something that has never been threatened by anything smaller than itself. It comes for me in a straight line and hits the pit like a verdict. The ground shakes. The creature screams every wrong sound at once. I'm already at the edge, the hand axe raised, silver white energy crawling along the blade, and I drop in and bring it down into the junction between the creature's first and second shoulders. The magic detonates on contact. The creature shrieks and thrashes. On my second pass, I take 3 of its 6 eyes with a lateral sweep that fills the pit with light. On my third pass, I look at it. Really look, with everything that survival makes sharp. And I find it, beneath the jaw, where the neck meets the skull. A soft, darker membrane pulsing visibly with each agonized heartbeat. I leap. Both feet leave the ground. The axe comes two-handed above my head, the silver fire screaming along the blade, and I drive it down through that membrane with everything my body has. Weight, velocity, intention, and the magic detonates so violently it blows loose earth from the pit walls in a ring. The creature's scream begins and ends in the same instant, then silence, complete and absolute. I stand in the pit with shaking arms and a hand axe and a creature the size of a horse completely, utterly still beneath me. A borrowed tool, a hole in the ground. That's what it took. I work methodically before the adrenaline fades. Claws, a fluid sac near its midsection, dark and iridescent, tied off carefully. A section of thick hide. Then I take the hand axe to its neck with patient precision until the head comes free. I wrap it in the harvested hide and tuck it under my arm. Then I climb out of the pit and walk back through a forest that feels fractionally different than the one I walked into. Aldrich doesn't speak when I set the head on his workbench. He stares at it. 6 empty eyes, the fishhook teeth, that too-wide skull. For a long moment that has weight in it. Then he opens the chest, lifts out the burlap-wrapped short sword and sets it on the workbench.
It pulls left,
He says quietly.
You'll learn it.
He looks at the head again, then at me.
There was only the one?
I look at the short sword on the workbench, then I slide it back across toward him. The monster was tough, I tell him. I had the advantage of seeing it first and setting a trap, and I got lucky, and it still nearly wasn't enough. By all rights, I should be what that thing leaves behind. I meet his eyes. New deal. I give you this proof, the head as a trophy, and in return, you equip me properly. Long sword, leather armor. I'll seek out additional help in town and raise a party to find out where these things are coming from. Aldrich stares at me for a long moment. His eyes move to the head on the workbench, to the ichor still dark on my hands, to the hand axe, his hand axe, that I set beside the head. He killed it. Those eyes are doing the math. With that, and he's already planning what comes next.
The long sword on the wall,
He says finally.
belongs to a merchant who ordered it 4 months ago and hasn't come to collect. Man's 3 months late. Paid half up front.
A pause long enough to mean something.
I'll call the debt settled.
He lifts the long sword from its peg, sets it on the workbench, disappears into the back of the forge and returns with leather armor, worn but well maintained, the chest piece stiffened with boiled hide layered 3 deep.
My sons,
He says flatly, setting it beside the sword. He doesn't elaborate. His face makes clear he won't. I pull the armor on piece by piece, buckle the straps, settle the long sword on my hip, roll my shoulders once. Different, better, the weight of something earned. I appreciate you, Aldrich, I tell him. I'll have an update as soon as possible. He raises one hand without turning from the anvil. Aldrich, are there any other important people in this town worth talking to? A warrior, a healer? I dabble in magic myself, badly, but I take someone who knows what they're doing over someone who doesn't. He sets his hammer down, scratches his beard. Seems to decide I've earned at least this much.
3 people worth talking to.
He holds up a thick finger.
Marin Ashby, the woman you walked past this morning without a word.
A pointed look.
Village elder, knows everything that happens within 10 miles of Duskfen, tough as the timbers in her house and twice as old. If anyone's noticed a pattern in what's been happening, dead animals, strange sounds, the mill pond going gray, it's her. She won't volunteer it to a stranger who ignores her.
Second finger.
Priest named Edwin, tends the chapel at the south end. Healer, good one, quiet man. He's been treating farmhands for what he calls nervous exhaustion. Men who went near the northern field and came back wrong. He doesn't talk about it publicly, but he's worried.
Third finger.
As for a fighter,
He pauses. Something shifts in his expression. Careful word choosing.
there's a woman staying at the inn. Been here 4 days. Calls herself Sarah. Doesn't talk about where she came from or where she's going. Eats alone. Sits with her back to the wall.
He picks up his hammer.
She has a sword that's seen real use and eyes that miss nothing. I don't know if she'll help, but she's the only one in this village besides yourself who doesn't look afraid.
He turns back to the anvil. Then, without looking around,
Start with Marin. Apologize first. She remembers everything.
the inn's common room is dim and low-ceilinged. 4 tables, a stone hearth, an old man behind the bar, 2 farmhands in their drinks. And in the far corner, back to the wall, exactly as Aldrich described, a woman who was watching me from the moment the door opened, even though her eyes haven't visibly moved. Her gaze drops briefly to the longsword, to the leather armor, to the creature ichor still dark on my hands, then back to my face. I cross the room and stop at her table. She doesn't move, doesn't reach for her drink or her sword, just waits with the particular stillness of someone who has learned that patience is its own kind of weapon. I wipe the last of the ichor off my hands onto my trousers and hold one out. "Kenji," I say, "mind if I sit?" Her eyes drop to the offered hand for exactly 1 second. Then she takes it, firm, brief, the handshake of someone who was taught properly.
Sarah.
She says.
And no.
She kicks the chair across from her out with one boot. An invitation that manages to feel like it might be revoked at any moment. I sit. She watches me settle. Then her eyes move to my hands again, to the dark, iridescent staining still worked into the creases of my knuckles that the ichor wipe didn't fully clear.
That's not animal blood.
She says, flat. A test, not a statement. No, I agree. Something with 6 legs and eyes in 2 rows, north of the village at the old mill. Something shifts in her expression. Microscopic. Gone before it fully arrived. Aldrich pointed me to you, I tell her. Said you were the only other person in this village who doesn't look afraid? She picks up her drink, considers that.
Aldrich talks too much.
She says, but she doesn't leave. I look past her, behind the bar, a young woman, early 20s, auburn hair pinned up with a cooking skewer, bright-eyed. She catches me looking and doesn't look away immediately. I raise one hand. You there? She looks over. I meet her eyes and smile. Come hear something worth listening to. She hesitates exactly 1 second, then drifts toward the table with studied casualness.
I'm working,
She says. You're walking, I say pleasantly. Close enough. I lean forward with both forearms on the table and begin. Not with the creature, with waking up in the mud, the wrong sky, the cold, the forest that felt like it was deciding something. My voice stays low enough that she has to lean in slightly to catch every word, and she does after the first sentence, without noticing she's doing it. Then the tracks, 6-legged, wrong, the mill, the water that wasn't right, and here I pause, just half a breath. The size of a horse, 6 eyes in 2 rows, and a sound that lives in your back teeth before your ears know it's there. Her eyes have gone wide. Her hands grip the table edge. I describe the pit trap with the self-deprecating honesty of a man who knows that admitting I dug a hole with my hands is funnier than pretending I didn't. The hand axe Aldrich gave me. This close to a stick, really, if we're being honest. I describe the fall, the earth shaking through my boot soles, the creature's shriek. Then the leap, slow and deliberate. The silver light, the falling weight. The committed decision of a man who understood that hesitation was its own kind of death. I bring my hand flat down on the table like the axe hitting home. She flinches, then laughs at herself for flinching. And then, I say, sitting back. It was quiet. She disappears, returns 30 seconds later with a full cup of something amber and local and sets it in front of me with a small, decisive thud.
on the house.
She says, then quieter.
My name's Pip.
She retreats to the bar, glancing back once. In the corner of my eye, the woman, still as carved stone, untouched drink. Her jaw has shifted approximately 3 degrees to one side. I pick up the ale and take a long sip. Then, quiet enough that only the 2 of us exist in the radius of it. And that's how you sing for your supper. A single exhale through her nose. The architectural suggestion of a laugh.
Cute?
She says. The word landing with the precise flatness of someone choosing it instead of something warmer. A beat.
You dug a hole with your bare hands, fell into a pit with a 6-limbed apex predator, and your plan was 1 hand axe and optimism.
She looks at me with eyes that have genuinely reassessed something.
And it worked.
She turns her cup once on the table. A small, thoughtful rotation.
I've been watching this village for 4 days, waiting for whoever was going to deal with that thing.
Her voice is low and even.
I had a list of what that person would probably look like.
Her eyes move across me. The armor, the long sword, the ale someone gave me because I talked well.
You were not on the list,
She leans forward.
but you killed it. And you came back. And you're already building a party instead of taking the sword and walking south.
She looks at me with the full weight of attention she'd been rationing since the door opened.
So, ask me what you actually came here to ask me, Kenji.
I look her in the eyes. Isn't it obvious, I say. I need your help killing the remaining monsters and figuring out where they came from. Something happens that hasn't happened in 4 days of careful stillness in this corner. She smiles. Small. Controlled. The kind that escapes rather than gets offered. Gone almost before it arrives, but real. She reaches into her traveling coat and slides a folded piece of parchment across the table with 2 fingers. A map. Hand-drawn in precise, careful strokes. The forest north of Duskfen. The mill marked. 3 other locations spreading outward like a slow constellation. At the map's edge, the delve.
There isn't just one.
She says quietly.
There are never just one. They're called hex crawlers. 6-limbed pack hunters directed by something else. Something that organizes them.
She taps the delve.
They come from there, an old excavation site 2 days northeast. Something woke up inside it roughly 6 weeks ago and started sending them out in expanding patrol patterns. I was hired to assess the situation, report back, not engage alone.
A pause.
Then I saw what they did to the animals at the forest edge and decided reporting back could wait.
She extends her hand across the table.
We'll need the healer, too. Priest Edwin. I've seen his work.
I look at her extended hand. The smart move is to shake it and talk strategy. I know this even as I hear myself say something else. Any chance you'd want company tonight that isn't tactical? It lands wrong. I can feel it land wrong the moment the air touches it. The hand comes back, slowly, with the unhurried precision of someone returning a weapon to its sheath. Whatever warmth had begun quietly occupying the corners of her expression closes with a soft, precise click. She picks up her drink, takes a measured sip, sets it down.
You were doing so well,
She says, with the calm tone of someone discussing a failed experiment.
genuinely. Right up until that.
A beat.
You killed one hex crawler with a hole in the ground and a hand axe. There are at least 12 more between here and the delve.
She stands, drops a coin on the table for her untouched drink.
Impress me out there.
She heads for the stairs, stops at the bottom post without turning.
The long rest is a good idea, though. Get a room, Kenji.
Her voice carries back perfectly.
You smell like hex crawler and poor decisions.
She goes upstairs. From behind the bar, Pip makes absolutely no effort to hide her grin.
She's been like that for 4 days.
She offers cheerfully. I look over at her. Pip, I say, and some part of me notes that I'm doing this again, that whatever impulse just crashed and burned with Sarah is apparently unkillable, except this time I know exactly what I'm doing. How about you let me take a hot bath, and afterward I'll tell you the rest of that story in your room, the parts I left out, the parts that would have made your hands do more than grip the table. She stops wiping the bar, looks at me, travels the full entertaining distance from surprise to amusement to something warmer that she doesn't bother reining in. She sets the cloth down.
My room.
She repeats slowly, not a question, tasting the shape of it. Your room, I confirm. I'm told I'm an exceptional storyteller, the kind that keeps you up all night. She holds my gaze for a beat longer than casual. Then she looks at the stairs, then at the kitchen where her father's sounds suggest he's occupied. She reaches under the bar and produces a large iron key, slides it toward me with one finger.
There's a copper tub in the back room.
She says.
I'll heat the water, 20 minutes, then room 3, top of the stairs, second door on the left.
She picks up her cloth, resumes wiping the bar with studied composure that fools absolutely no one.
Kenji!
I'm already moving. I look back. Her eyes are bright and entirely too knowing for someone her age.
The stories better be very good.
The copper tub is real, and the hot water is the finest thing I have encountered since arriving in this world. The creature's dark, iridescent blood lifts off my skin and sinks to the bottom. My hands stop aching. My shoulders unclench for the first time since I woke up in the mud. I lie back in the water and look at the ceiling. This morning I woke up in the dirt with nothing. No name anyone here recognized. No memory of how I arrived. Tonight I'm sitting in a copper tub in a village I've decided to protect, wearing a dead man's armor and carrying a sword meant for someone who never came back for it. I killed something that shouldn't exist with a borrowed hand axe and a hole I dug with my bare hands. I have magic I don't understand, skills I can't explain, and a mouth that runs faster than my judgment in every direction at once. Sarah saw through me in 4 seconds flat. Pip saw through me too. The difference is she liked what she saw underneath. Tomorrow, Marin Ashby, who deserves an apology. Priest Edwin, who is quietly worried about things he hasn't said aloud yet. 12 hex crawlers between here and the delve. Something that woke up 6 weeks ago inside an old excavation site 2 days northeast. Tonight, hot water, a key to a room that isn't mine, and stories I intend to tell very, very slowly. I close my eyes. The ember at the base of my skull burns steadily in the dark. Good, I think. Stay lit. Ding. Level 2. The ember didn't wake me. It just burned brighter when I opened my eyes, like it spent the night deciding to take up more space. Kenji Human, Blade Channeler, Sorcerer Swordsman Level 2, Outlander, HP 15, AC 12 Initiative, +1 Spell Attack, +5 Spell, Save, D, C 13, ST R15/+2, DEX 13/+1, CON 13/+1, INT 9/-1, WIS 11/+0, CHA 17/+3. Cantrips, Arcane Edge, Silver White Weapon Infusion, adds force damage to every hit. Blade Ward, Purple Reactive Shield, have 1 physical hit, 3 uses per rest. Spells, Thunderous Strike, on hit, expend a spell slot. Target saves or gets knocked down and takes thunder damage. Charisma Surge, expend a spell slot. Add charisma bonus to any one roll. Must be declared before rolling. Charm Person, new. 1 humanoid regards me as a friend for up to 1 hour. New abilities, Arcane Momentum, new. Kill an enemy with Arcane Edge active and I get 1 free bonus attack immediately after. Inventory, Long Sword, Merchant Steel, well-balanced hand axe, melee or thrown leather armor, Aldrich's Son's creature claws, 2 of them iridescent fluid sac medicinal herb bundle, 1 use remaining fibrous tinder root Sarah's map, hexcrawler patrol locations and the delve marked. Gold 0. End of chapter 1.
This has been a Never-Ending Narratives production, The Sorcerer's Sword, written by Hero Protagonist. Thank you for listening. New chapters arrive weekly. Stay tuned.